You did everything right. So, why are you broke? Fewer than half of Americans could cover a $1,000 emergency today. And here's the part nobody says out loud. Most of them did everything right. School, degree, job, house, save what's left. The full instruction manual followed to the letter. So no, this isn't another lecture about lattes. This is the story of a deal that died while everyone kept paying the subscription. Stay with me, because the numbers show exactly when it broke and who broke it. Spoiler, it wasn't you. Start in 1980. Back then, the median family could buy the median house for about 3.5 years of income. Sending a kid to a public college took maybe a quarter of 1 year's pay. Healthcare was a footnote in the family budget. That was the script, and the script worked. Every step paid you back more than it cost. Degree, house, retirement, clockwork. Then quietly, every price in the script started sprinting, while paychecks kept walking at a respectable, responsible, completely useless pace. Since 1980, home prices are up 551%. Incomes up 373. Feel that gap? You live in it. But the gap isn't even the strange part. The first rule, get the degree, broke in a much stranger way. Since 1980, public college tuition has climbed more than 700%. Private colleges said, "Hold my gown," and cleared 1,000. Tuition outran household income 3-to-1 at public schools and nearly 5-to-1 at private ones. And at some point, that stops being inflation and starts being a heist. The family that once paid a quarter of a year's income for college now hands over up to half. And the payback, for a growing crowd of graduates, the check is permanently in the mail. Right now, over 41% of recent grads are working jobs that never required a degree at all. Criminal justice majors, 66%, underemployed. Performing arts, nearly 64%. The dramatic irony writes itself, and nobody's laughing. New grad unemployment sits near 5.7%, above the national average. The golden ticket now opens roughly nothing. And there's a new bouncer at the door. AI is quietly eating the entry-level jobs graduates use to start with. So Rule 1 costs up to 10 times more and delivers less. Annoying, sure. But here's where it gets genuinely weird. Even the graduates who win, good job, good salary, stay broke. Hold that thought. First, the house. The median American home now costs $414,900. The median household earns $81,604. Do the division. That's 5 times income in a world where financial planners call anything above 2.6 unaffordable. In 1980, the number was about 3.6. Today, not one of the 50 biggest metros in America passes the test. 0 for 50. A perfect losing streak. In San Jose, the ratio hits 11.6. Nearly 12 years of every dollar a household earns for a house. And it's accelerating. Just from 2019 to 2024, home prices jumped 31%, while incomes managed 22%. That's prices moving 1.5 times faster than paychecks in 5 years. Now let that compound for 4 decades, and here's what it looks like in human years. In 1981, the typical first-time homebuyer was 29 years old. Today, they're 40. 11 years of adulthood, quietly repossessed from the timeline your parents promised you. And those years weren't spent idle. They were spent running, earning, paying, upgrading, refinancing, and somehow never gaining ground. Which raises the obvious question. If everyone's working this hard, where is the money actually going? Here's where. In 1970, housing, education, and healthcare together took about 30% of a median family's income. Reasonable roommates. Today, those same three take 60 to 80%. Your actual life sublets whatever's left. Healthcare alone is up 450% since 1980. These aren't splurges. This is the cover charge for a normal life. The result? 53% of Americans now live paycheck to paycheck, including a third of households earning six figures. Read that again. Earning more was supposed to be the escape hatch, but when fixed costs eat every raise, more money doesn't mean escape. It means the treadmill gets a firmware update. The evidence is everywhere. Americans are saving 4.5% of their income against a long-run average of more than 8. Half speed. 27% of adults have zero emergency savings, the highest share ever recorded. Prices climbed 3.8% this past year, with gas up 28%. Total consumer debt just crossed $19 trillion, and 29% of buy now, pay later users are financing groceries. The math is broken for basically everybody. So why does every single person feel like they're failing alone? Because the failure went quiet. Edward Jones. Data says silent financial stress now touches 216 million Americans. People who look stable and feel anything but. And quiet is the trick. Money trouble that's obviously structural somehow files itself under personal failure, a secret you keep. Your phone isn't helping. 51% of people say social media sells an unrealistic lifestyle. 57% say people post just to look successful. Researchers have a name for what that does to you. Money dysmorphia. The feeling of being broke regardless of the facts. It hits 43% of Gen Z, and 95% of the people who have it get hurt financially, overspending, borrowing, saving less, all to chase a life that only exists in good lighting. 40% of young adults admit they buy experiences mainly for the photos. The brunch is for the feed, and the feed is always hungry. Then the shame compounds, like interest. Studies show financial shame predicts worse money decisions and lower credit scores. Shame literally makes you poorer. Look at the loop. The system breaks the math, you inherit the blame, and the blame breaks the math a little more. Nobody's exempt either. Lifestyle creep shows up at $500,000 incomes because comparison has no ceiling. And you feel alone with it because shame is silent. Everyone withdraws. Nobody admits it. The crowd is enormous, and every person in it is hiding. So what do you do when the script is dead? First, read the numbers one more time, because they contain a verdict. Homes up 551%, tuition up 1,000, essentials swallowing up to 80% of income. The verdict is acquitted. You were never bad at a fair game. You were perfectly average at a game whose prices tripled in the middle of play. And that reframe isn't a hug, it's a strategy. Shame drives bad decisions. Clarity drives better ones. The data says so. Clarity means budgeting for the game that exists now, not the 1980 rerun your parents played. Those ratios are gone. It means pricing the degree like an investment instead of performing it like a ritual, because some majors pay you back and many no longer do. It means measuring yourself against the actual math, 5 times income for a house, and never against anybody's highlight reel. The script failed. The people who followed it did not. Memorize that sentence. It's worth more than any budgeting hack, because the first step off a rigged treadmill is refusing to keep sprinting in shame that was never yours to carry. Next time, the 4 easy payments, quietly buying America's groceries, and why the smoothest debt trap ever built feels exactly like convenience.